Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. Earlier on today, I did a video entitled GB News Wants to Scare Us. Now, the point of that video was to discuss the mainstream media narrative and the way they try and control us and the way they try and make us think certain ways about certain things. The thumbnail to this video was this one here, just in case you wanted to go back and have a look at what I had to say. Basically, I was very taken by a news article that was on GB News, the wording of which was designed to basically scare the living daylights out of us. And it occurred to me that they're morphing into and becoming part of the mainstream narrative that we know, the BBCs, the ITVs, the Channel 4s, they started off labelling themselves the People's Channel, and that they were going to be different. They were going to address real concerns. But a lot of the time, I find that they just peddle the same old crap that everyone else does, and I'm not impressed. Well, I wanted to leave the video running for most of the day and then come back to you later on and run through some of your comments. So, without further ado, let's have a look, shall we? Now, the first one. Paul Kelly-Bow, if you watch MSM, and that Slimefest GB News, it means you pay for a TV license, which in turn means you fund the utterly deplorable BBC. Are you proud of yourselves? Paul, you make a very valid point there, don't you? The BBCs, the ITVs and everything else. I mean, the BBC, with the amount of controversy that's come out of that camp recently, why are we funding that? GB News, you do have access to most of their stuff online. So do you need a TV license necessarily to watch GB News? I'm not so sure about that. Maybe someone can correct me, but you're absolutely right. Why are we funding it? And also in this day and age where you've got the likes of me and other YouTubers online, which are bringing in information from other places, it kind of scares the MSM because they don't have control of the narrative anymore like they used to. Gary, open your mouth and go to prison. Unless, of course, you're Muslim. Yes, I like the way you did that. Then you can say and do whatever you want. Yeah, there's definitely that two-tier feel out there, isn't there? We've seen some more of this today. Ken 10 Rapid, everyone in GB News that could be described as alt-right, not part of the mainstream fake soapbox, has been pushed out. Absolutely. Lawrence Fox and various others. They probably have been forced to toe the establishment narrative now, so probably they'll be just as untrustworthy as the rest of the industrialized media machine. Absolutely. I mean, one very valid point there. I was born in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s and a bit of the 90s. And I remember things in the 80s. You didn't have the same 24-hour news cycle you do now. And I wonder whether that's some of the problem. And it was more a case of reporting what happened, not reporting what happened because this is why. And this is what we want you to believe about what happened, or we're going to conveniently miss out this little detail to try and again influence your thinking. This happened, and then you roll forward to now with the news cycle that we have. It's a very different ball game. Kozlowski, not quite sure I got that one, but I had a go. I have also noticed GB News has changed. Not nowhere near as good as it was with Dan Wootton and Mark Stein. It seems to be turning the other way. Ted Collins, 1776, come get some. Lynn Shaw, Andy, I do not listen to LGBN news because they are lying to people. I don't even watch any news at all because they're lying through their teeth, because I hate liars. Yes, when you lie to somebody, I saw this during the election with one of the candidates for my local area. You immediately lose trust. You lie to somebody, you've got that in the back of your mind, haven't you? Are they lying? And you never know whether they're telling the truth anymore. It's you've got to be straight up with people. You have to be. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble. Watford tripod, and apparently, like Ebola, it originated from the Congo. Here we go again. Yes, you know what I'm referring to, of course. You have to watch the video that I put up earlier on if you're in any doubt. Vicky Cooper. I still watch GB News, but always remembering that under the gaze of Ofcom and advertisers. I also watch Talk. My favourite is 2CTV. Yeah, he was on earlier. I need to check his video out, Maya, because the title was Help Save 2CTV, so I don't quite know what that was about, but I'm going to check it out. I watch Culture Forum and Trigonometry, David Starkey, Russell Brand, Dan Woods, and Outspoken TR, and of course your good self. Thank you very much. I periodically try the lefties in an attempt not to live in an echo chamber, but I have to steel myself. As others, I got hooked on internet news during lockdown and never looked at a paper since. Also cancelled license. It made me ill to watch it. I really don't understand the scare story. It makes no sense. No, it doesn't make any sense. And it's the timing of it. You know, you see this every now and again, don't you? They just creep a little thing in and we all go, I mean, you know, I'll mention Alex Belfield. Obviously, we know what happened to him in the end, but during lockdown, he really held all of that to account. You know, these are the figures. This is what I really see. This is what you have to understand against the narrative, against the grain, day after day after day. And that's, you know, where this whole YouTube, this whole alternate media idea really comes into its own. And it needs to continue. And there's a big worry that if we get too close to the grain, will we be silenced? Let's see how things go. But I like to think if you remain civil, you remain constructive, and you remain, you know, on a level playing field, you'll be okay. Mr. Frisky Whiskey. Oh, I like Frisky Whiskey, especially when it's in a glass in front of me. Here we go again on a side note, sort of related. BBC News reporting major incident declared after cyanide spill in UK town. Yes, I did read that earlier. First of all, why report the drama? Second, surely if they know it's cyanide, they surely know what caused the spill. So why omit that information? Yeah, absolutely. Again, that's an example of controlling what you think, or at least attempted to. Barbara Murdoch, I don't know about you, but I've got a few ads for malaria. Yes. They crop up, don't they? George Taylor, well, a new pandemic was forecast for October this year, I believe. I've read something similar, so we'll have to see how that narrative continues. Brenda Darling, Andrew Doyle on a Sunday night is not to be missed, and I like headliners. I'll check him out. Don't you worry about that. B7986, have you not been hearing God in the last 30 years, Cabby? When Jesus left Birmingham, they're doomed. The comet ends it. Okay, I've got family in Birmingham. I'll have to have a word. Swagman Andy, I point blank ignore mainstream misery as they're full of bull crap. Yes, Tez Ben, GB News equals total shite. Tez Ben again, GB News have forgotten what made them popular with the working class. They have, I believe. And, you know, you look at some of the headlines that they come out with and you think, oh, my God. Miriam, Mirror Road Properties. In the social media age, how things be manipulated, not rocket science. Whole Brits' concerns have been hijacked. Yes, absolutely. Mr. Daisy May, this is all in capitals, so I think you're trying to attract my attention. There's some bad news on YouTube, if you can believe it, and I certainly do. It's got Stasi Starmer's prints all over it. By 2027, it claims a new plan to save the mouthpiece of the government, the BBC. It will affect every council taxpayer because they're adding a percentage of tax on for every household, whether you have a TV or any other device or not. Orders must be obeyed without question at all times. Where did I hear that before? Of course, it must be crud. You know, I've heard similar when there was talk about cancelling the TV license. There were comments on my own channel which said, oh, we'll just add it to the council tax or squeeze it in somewhere else. You'll always be paying it somehow. So you might be onto something there. Anthony, they're liars. Bugsery. GB News, now mainstream media channel controlled by Ofcom. They drove Mark Stein and Dan Wootton off the airwaves. I no longer watch, as it's more of the same MSM propaganda. Yeah, no, they also they seem to have quite the balance, don't they? I mean, I did a video a few days back about some lefty person on there spewing a load of garbage, and I was thinking, oh my God, why? And somebody pointed out they have to have that balance, otherwise Ofcom will be down their throats. It's a shame. It's a shame. Yes, you need to see both sides of the argument, but to that extreme, Munster's Munster irons. Is this the incurable disease from the continent of Africa? Yes, the place from where thousands of millions of migrants are being facilitated. Please enlighten. Yes, have a look at GB News and you'll see. CVF 1002 question: is that the 2T? Yeah. You get loads and loads of variants of this sort of thing in the news all the time. Dave Newbit, I've seen these over the past few months. There's quite a few. It seems at least once a week they talk of various scary things and diseases of all types and in all places of the world. I often wondered why they do this, as I see it nowhere else. It's weird. Scaremongery, in my opinion. Utter scaremongery. Here's another comment. Robo2241. Question everything that appears on MSM. Everything, every story, every narrative, every image, every footage, every half footage, every tone of voice used, every talking head, every emotive angle, every response. You have to have it. If you have a certain degree of intuition built up over years, observing it diligently, you might even consider certain things and stories you see with an intense degree of skepticism that will disturb you, and you might want to dismiss as outrageous. You don't necessarily have to share such thoughts with the average person, as it might be ill-advised and evidence can't be provided to back up your intuitive sensibility. But keep in mind, there's a lot of scared people out there, including media employees whose livelihoods depend on doing the bidding, whether knowingly or unknowingly, of people up to serious no good. You've pretty much summed up how I feel about the whole MSN narrative there. Absolutely. Great comment. Mac attack, a deadly virus with no cure, so no safe and effective intervention then, or when the virus is safer than the alleged treatment. Yeah, good excuse to shut the doors, huh? Ken Jepson, today I learned that GB News is mainstream, laugh out loud. Talking of scaremongering bullshittery, some of the taglines of your videos, Gabby, our country isn't safe anymore. This is very sinister. This is very dangerous. Warning. What happens next is terrifying. Some double standards going on there. You watched, didn't you? Thank you, Ken, anyway. Pat6246. Those nudge units we found out about 4 years ago never went away. They just diversified. Go Ebbles. Go Ebbles, would be proud. I love the way you've done that. Margaret Greenwood, totally agree, Andy. I've been listening to Father Calvin Robinson, how GB News sacked him. Nigel, Dan and Lawrence don't watch GB News anymore. Paul Mason, GB go bust soon. They might have to let Reece Smug go. That's one thing I could never understand, and that is politicians as newsreaders. I couldn't squeeze my head around that. Let's have another few comments. I don't watch TV. I don't buy newspaper. I don't watch MSN. What are you trying to do, Andy? GB News, way more credibility in the likes of Sky and BBC. To an extent, yes. But, you know, they come up with news articles which mirror Sky and BBC and all of those things we come to hate, and you think, hang on, what are they playing at? And I will call them out when I see it. Upload videos. Andy, as usual, slag off GB News. I come to believe you are like many people who see, hear and read what you want. If you hate GB News so much, why watch it? I watch it or I read it more likely because it is a source of information like many other media sources, and you have to put together what you believe to be the truth. But every now and again, as I said in the previous comment, I am seeing news articles there, which I think shouldn't be there, which mirror all the other scare factory stuff, the BBC's, the Sky News, and all the rest of it that Albert mentioned in the previous comment. And I just think, this isn't good. This isn't good. But there you go. Anyway, some great comments there. Good mixture as always. And it always helps when you hear something or read something in the mainstream to go looking elsewhere to check the validity of it. That much is certain. Very strange world we live in, and we've got to make sure that we're not force-fed or blindsided down a particular way of thinking, haven't we? Channel's doing very well now. Somewhere around 96,000 subscribers, I think, something like that. So only about 4 off the magic 100,000, and that's due to your support entirely. Very much appreciate all of that and all of your input and your comments. Please continue to support the channel. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're just watching for the first time. Share me on your socials, and I'll be back tomorrow with more stuff. I look forward to talking to you again then. Toodaloo.